I'm Leo, Renovato. I'm a dad to two kids. Marcel is 10, turning 11 next couple weeks, and Luigi is 8. I work in construction. I've been working in construction all my career, 15 years now. And I grew up in Brazil, in Rio. I moved to the US in 1992. I finished high school, went to college, got a job, and I've been here ever since. So the principles, I'll take you guys back to 2011 when I started looking for something more of a spiritual nature to, improve myself and answer some of the questions we all have about life and death and other things related to spirituality. Not necessarily religion, but spirituality. And through the course of that, I ended up meeting Marianne through a conflict resolution class. And during that class, Marianne, she tries to teach us in the class a lot of the concepts that are related to the three principles and trying to make them fit into the curriculum of that class. And once the class was over, it was a 16-week course. I became more interested in the three principles, and she told me about the workshops that they do, and now I'm going to go into, tomorrow I have my second workshop that I'm going to be attending, and I find it really interesting. It's a way that helps me with this side of me that wants to know more about spirituality and how to find inner peace and how to be a better person. And the principles help me understand myself better and what goes through my mind and how my thought process might be at times, and how does that might have conflicts with feelings and emotions and so forth. So I think that side also applies to my quest for spirituality. Especially growing up, I never was a guy to get into bar fights or anything like that, and pig fights or anything of that nature. But looking back, several years ago, I would say that I had something that I was looking for more to calm myself, and I couldn't find answers. And you translate into arguments with people, including my ex-wife at times, and I would get very irritable, due to little things, and people in my family would tell me that I would sweat the small stuff, and that's true. Looking back, it's true, and I think over the years I've been learning to overcome that, and the principles, you kind of I wish I had known about the three principles a long time ago, because it makes a lot of sense now, the process I went through, and until I got here. It relates to me as far as getting to know myself better, and like the stuff we talked in the class, finding the trigger points about things that I might find irritation on. Something as simple as driving through traffic and being able to not get irritated by a traffic jam or something like that. Learning to know things that are under my control and things that are not. And just the concept of letting go, that we talk quite a bit about, letting thoughts go, they're not important. It helps me be aware of that. So I think most of it is awareness. One of the workshops I've been in, Gabriella was talking about remembering. We all have this wisdom in us, and it's just a matter of us remembering that. So the three principles, I think it helps us being aware of that fact, and trying to catch ourselves before we kind of let our anger or other emotions flow. I think there ought to be some processes that the brain creates with memory, and how your upbringing was maybe, and backgrounds, and I'm sure there's cultural points to it. But the wisdom for me is being aware of it and having that chance to think how you're gonna act, not just reacting to something that happens, but being able to act on it consciously. It took a while to grasp the concept that, people sometimes say, oh, so and so is making me mad. The concept that no, nobody's making you mad, you're making yourself mad. Somebody acts a certain way, that's fine, but you choose the way you act. And it took me several weeks to get through that and understand what it means and how can that be. And that's one of the teachings I got out of the three principles. It's how we are in control of how we feel and not others. And likewise, we cannot make somebody act a certain way because we want them to. They're going to act the way they choose to. So it's very empowering knowing that you are in full control of yourself, your feelings, your emotions, how you act, and even what you do with your thoughts, if you grasp to a thought or not, anxiety and things like that. And sometimes you know you're having a certain feeling and you cannot do much about it. An example is recently I got accepted to be a volunteer firefighter. But it took about a week or so to get the answer after I had an interview. And I was very anxious during that whole week, waiting for that email or the phone call and the expectation of that, knowing that I shouldn't be creating that expectation. I knew I did a pretty decent job on the interview, and I put myself, put my best foot forward and so forth. I prepared for it, I planned for it, I've been studying for that for a while. So I took all the steps that I had to make that come to fruition, but I was still anxious about it, and I still was creating those thoughts in my head and creating expectations and second guessing myself that I was not gonna go and so forth. And throughout that week I knew I was just making that stuff up, but sometimes we just do it because that's how our body is, how we're humans. We have something inside of us that might be maybe more physiological than not. But knowing that that's happening and it's gonna be okay no matter what happens, that part of me I didn't have before. Having that wisdom, quote unquote, and knowing that I'm going through that anxiety, but that's okay. That's just because I'm a human, and that's fine. I cannot let that rule my life, but for that short period of time, I'll control the anxiety the best I can until I get that answer. So, and I'm sure that's going to happen over and over again, but being able to know that what's going through, it's okay and it's normal, but not letting myself get caught up on that, whirlwind and take me down and change my mood. I got accepted to the program, but I would also be okay if I didn't, and I would just keep trying. I would try the next time they would have applications, and I would just keep trying, and I have a goal and I would keep trying on it. And years back, I would be beating myself down if I didn't get through that challenge and so forth, and I would be beating myself a lot harder than I would do today, currently. So the three principles also helps me with being easier on myself, because I'm always gonna be my worst critic, and I think for a lot of us that's true, right? We're always gonna be our own worst critic, but how we do it and the level that we do it, we cannot beat ourselves down too hard, because there's always gonna be a next chance. And this poster, it was a recent lesson that we had. It actually had to do with feelings and controlling emotions. That was the book we were reading, and I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of, in a way, introduce some of these three principle concepts, somewhat in kid language. The poster became very busy after I start, putting things together, finding pictures and whatnot. But and I was trying to relate all of this to the book that we had read in class. and how everything starts with a thought or an idea on our head, and how people have, even gender-wise. There's a picture here about a guy, the word pants. The ladies think about long pants, and the guys think about shorts. So even gender-wise, sometimes a thought can be interpreted differently. Everything else, any other feelings we might have, that might be sadness or depression or anger, feeling overwhelmed and so forth. Those are feelings that come from thoughts in our mind that we might be either creating or developing from a situation that didn't go the way we wanted and so forth. But we always have a way of deciding what to do with it. So, and then here comes the thinking cap, and the little girl thinking about it. Okay, so now I have a chance to decide, what do I do to calm myself down? Then I talked to them about some ideas what to do, because that was also related to the book. The kid on the book, she got really angry with her sister, and she decided to go run away and climb a tree and so forth. So then we talked a little bit about what you do when you feel that way. You can run, you can exercise, you can breathe, you can stretch, and then you get into the point that you can talk to people that care about you, family, friends, and then you start feeling, then the feelings of loving yourself, the inner peace, finding your happy place, then they always spur from the moment that you decided to do something about that thought and that feeling that you had. And then at the end here we had the remember part, that as long as we can remember that this cycle might happen 1,000 times in the same day, this is important, the remembering part, that this cycle, it's normal, but what we do with it and how we decide to act is what makes the difference. So I tried to wrap all this together for the kids, and I borrowed from the teacher. I leave this in the classroom, so the teacher, she actually liked the lesson, and it's one of the better books that this program has. So I decided to do something a little extra so the kids could keep it in the classroom and refer to it with the teacher sometimes. Able to auto-analyze myself in situations that sometimes it feels like I'm powerless. It kind of takes a switch, it's like a 180-degree turn, and say, wait a minute, no, it's gonna be okay. Now let's think about what you need to do next, and not feel sorry for yourself. So I've always been very focused when I want to accomplish something, and the 3 principles help me enhance that focus even more and act quicker on it. Instead of taking like a week being mad about something or frustrated at something, it's a lot faster now to let that go and start acting on something that's going to actually help me get where I want to be.